you dare be sour. Clap for your world famous two-time champs and feel the power. It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Well. Looks like we're going to have ourselves a little bit of a social experiment this Sunday. Shedeur Sanders will be getting his first start against the Las Vegas Raiders, the same team co-owned by Tom Brady that passed over him multiple times in the draft. It is time for a social experiment. Because I was told when I did my last video that I went too hard on two-time Coach of the Year Kevin Stefanski. They said, Rob, you went too hard on him. They say, he didn't want Shedeur Sanders, but he doesn't hate the kid. He doesn't have anything against the kid. It's just that Dylan Gabriel's his man, and he never wanted to be in this situation. So you went too hard at him. I said, okay. See, unlike trolls and weirdos and people that just want to argue on social media, I listen. I listen to people. And if you have a verifiable profile picture and you don't look like an IG model bot from Russia, I'll talk ball with you. Because being a sports reporter, being a sports personality, being a sports analyst, it's not the hardest job in the world. Your opinion matters too. What I do, what Stephen A. Smith does, what Tony Romo does, it's not that difficult. Sports journalism is one of the few jobs I honestly think you can grab certain people off the street. And as long as they were comfortable with a camera in their face and was decent with their words, they could do the job. It's almost like the weatherman. Even though the weatherman does have to know certain things about the weather, but the weatherman can be wrong all the time. It doesn't really matter. The weatherman said it was going to rain on Monday. It rained on Tuesday. It just was sunny. Don't matter. The weatherman still get paid. That's kind of how sports journalism is. You can do it. So I respect your opinion. So when some people tell me they don't hate Kevin Stefanski, two-time Coach of the Year. I said, okay, I got you. All right. They said that the two-time Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski, he doesn't hate the kid. He doesn't hate Shedeur. All right. Well, we have a social experiment coming up. Going to be the most watched 2-8 teams ever on NFL Sunday Ticket. And this is a social experiment. And you would know it's a social experiment because you've watched Dylan Gabriel play for the last 3-4 weeks. So you know how Kevin Stefanski has been trying to protect him. Has been putting him in a little bit of a shell. Don't really let him do much of anything. Maybe because he understands his limitations. Because that's what good coaches do. They know your strengths, try to cover up your weaknesses. So what will he do with young Shedeur? There's a story on the newly redesigned Black Sports Online where I give you 5 things that Kevin Stefanski needs to do. And I tell you those things right now. And as you're watching the game, because you're also an analyst, like I said, as long as you got access to the TV and all 22, you're basically just like me. You're going to watch the game, and this is what you're going to look for. Are they going to run the ball? They got Quinshon Judkins. They have a decent offensive line when it comes to running the football. Will they stick with the run? I don't think the Raiders are going to be blowing out anybody. Okay? Will they stick to running the ball? Running the attack, quarterback's best friend. The second thing, you know and I know, because I've told you, Shedeur Sanders has PTSD from his offensive line at Colorado. That PTSD causes him to float back in the pocket when pressure happens instead of step up. I believe that's a coaching issue, to be honest with you, because when I watched Jackson Dart in college, he would step up into the pocket. Watch Julian Sand at Ohio State when he either slides to the right, slides to the, and he doesn't have Julian doesn't have, he can move a little bit, but he doesn't have great athletic ability as far as a runner. But he moves his feet, slide to the left, slide to the right, step up, rarely goes backwards. That has to be drilled into you on a day-to-day basis at a quarterback. And when the fire comes, step forward. Everybody can't be Lamar Jackson. Everybody can't be Josh Allen. Everybody can't be Michael Vick. Everybody doesn't have those type of skills to just be running around and stuff. You have to step up in the pocket. It does two things for you. First off, we step up in the pocket. If you do have to take a sack, it's a 2-3 yard sack is much different than a 10-15 yard sack. Secondly, when you step up, the running lanes are closer to you than when you go back. Lastly, when you step up, a lot of times the rush will go past you and give you a couple of extra seconds to find your receiver. If Shedeur Sanders went to Ohio State, he would have been the number one pick in the draft. I believe that. If he was coached under Ryan Day in his last year in college, Ohio State would have went 16-0. No shade to Will Howard. I believe that's a coaching issue, and that's where Kevin Stefanski has to come into play. Shedeur likes to float back, so how do you stop that? Besides drilling it in his head, you make the drops quicker. 3-step drop, 5-step drop. You don't have him drop back 7, 9 steps. You make those progressions quick. 1, 2, get it out of there. You got to drill it in his head. If it's not there, throw it away. If it's not there, take the small sack. Don't try to make something out of nothing. It's in his inherent skill set, which is a good thing, actually, that he's always trying to make the play. But one of the key issues with young quarterbacks is knowing, when to, try to make the play longer and when to just, live for another down. That's coaching. Kevin Stefanski. The other thing that he has to do, he has to get the ball to Jerry Jeudy. They have one really explosive wide receiver. He hasn't been able to, Dylan Gabriel doesn't have the strongest arm. So he hasn't really been able to get the ball to Jerry Jeudy. You have to get the ball to your explosive wide receiver, even if you only got one. But that's coaching. You have to coach up some stuff, some slants, something easy, some out routes, some comebacks. Then you can try to go deep. We saw Jerry Jeudy when he was with Jameis Winston. All of a sudden, he went from a guy that was kind of underachieving to looking like Jerry Rice. So you have to get your ball to your playmaker. Once again, this is coaching. This is all on Kevin Stefanski. And finally, and the most important thing, this is the most important thing, I think, for any quarterback in the world. I think it starts with this. Before you work on your footwork, before you work on your arm angle, before you work on how to deal with the pass rush, how to do your audibles, how to check the first thing that you have to do as a coach is make sure that your quarterback believes in you and you believe in your quarterback. I need Kevin Stefanski to go up and give Shedeur Sanders a hug. I mean a big, bare, two-handed hug and whisper in his ear, son, I believe in you. Son, we're going to go out and win this game. Son, I'm going to call the greatest game of my life. I'm going to be the greatest coach I can ever be today. and we're going to go out and we're going to kick the Raiders' ass. And I'll believe in you. And you pat that man on his back. Do you ever think Justin Herbert has to worry about if Harbaugh believes in him? Of course not. Think, Andy Reid. You got to make these guys believe. It's one thing for the player to have to believe. But if he doesn't believe the coaches and his teammates, and I think his teammates have his back. I honestly do. So I'm not that concerned about that. But the coach, you got to give him that bear hug. Say, listen, man, a lot of stuff has been said about me. A lot of stuff has been said about I think about you. I was watching Robert Littal on BSO Live. He said, I hate you. He's an asshole. Don't listen to him. He got into it with your father once. He's an asshole. Don't forget it. Who cares what he says? He's a nobody. Me and you, we lock and key. We together in this. And we're going to go out here. We're going to win these games. You're going to save my job. That's what he needs to do. That's what I want to see. When Shedeur gets the pass for his first down, I want to see some enthusiasm. I want to see some clapping. You have to make him believe that you believe in him. That's a life lesson. That's not just a football lesson. In relationships, whatever job that you're at, if you don't have the trust of the bosses, if you don't have the trust of the spouse or the significant other, you're never going to be able to function at a high level. They have to believe in you. I'm in the process of trying to get this book, a fiction book that I got published. And my wife, who makes fun of me all the time, she's a funny person, and that's how your relationships go. She'll make fun of me. But when it comes to that book, it's always, that book is great. I believe in you. It's going to get published. It's going to be a bestseller. You're doing amazing work. I can't believe you did this. It's just a positive, make you feel like you want to run through a wall. Positivity is super, super mentally. It's super important. I don't think people understand that. When the wind is at your back, you run faster. It's as simple as that. When the wind is at your back, you run faster. So he has to get out there. He has to go give him a hug. He has to punch him in the chest. He got to get him hyped up. If he's rolling his eyes and he doesn't look, who cares? I don't care if he throws 5 interceptions. Show him the love. Show that you care. Show that you believe. It's one thing for him, Shedeur, to go on there and say, I believe I'm the man. Because that's how he's been taught. His father is Deion Sanders. Of course he believes that. I'm going to be the man. I'm going to make the change. But it shouldn't be all him. He needs his coach to get on that press conference and says, yes, I believe Dillon Gabriel can be the man, but I also believe that Shedeur Sanders can be the man, or we wouldn't have them both in our facility. It doesn't take much. I'm not trying to be a psychiatrist or anything. I'm just telling you, I did take some classes at the Ohio State University, but I cannot tell you how much positive reinforcement will help you throughout your day. I cannot tell you how much positive reinforcement will help you throughout your day. Actually, I want you who's watching right now, it's about 500 of you watching across various things. I want you to go out. I don't care if it's your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your significant other, your coworker, your kid. Your kid definitely needs it. Whoever, your gardener, whoever, your cook, the people, the girl at Popeyes in the drive-thru, say something positive. That 3-piece that you got real hot, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate that when I said I wanted a leg, thigh, and a wing, you gave me a leg, a thigh, a wing, and an extra wing, extra biscuit. I appreciate you. You're good people. You're going to do great things. Positive reinforcement is one of the greatest things that we can have in society. In a society where if you say the sky's blue, someone will go on social media and say, F you and your blue sky. We need more positive reinforcement. We need more positivity. We need more wind at our backs. We need more people telling us yes we can than no we can't. That's not just a football lesson, that's a life lesson. Life is hard. Make it easier for somebody else. Speaking about life being hard, the Goons are out. The Goons are always out, honestly. They robbed young Shedeur while he was running for his life against the Baltimore Ravens. We saw what Tekashi 6'9" got robbed. Had his mom and his dog or whatever at gunpoint. You see, it happens out here in LA all the time. There's a couple of things. I'm just going to give you some tips. It may not stop it when you're famous. People have a way, especially on the internet, to kind of find out these things. But if you can, if you don't bring, if you're having a party, make sure you know everybody that's at the party. A lot of times what happened with these goon situation is somebody's the scout. The scout is somebody that you know. Maybe you don't know that well, or you thought you knew better than you did. They scout out your place, while you're over there playing Madden. Oh, he got the bags here, he got the jewelry there, he got the safe there, you got the money there, you got the artwork here. Obviously, they know when you're going to be playing. Nobody's at home at this time. This can go in this way. Here's the key code, et cetera, et cetera. The scout. You got to watch out for the scout. That can be anybody that you let into your house. It can be your cleaner. It can be the guy that washes the car. It can be the maintenance guy. Anybody can be the scout. They go tell the goons go, and there you go. Secondly, if you have property, you may want to put it under an LLC, put it under a trust, put it under something where if someone types in where does Shedeur Sanders live, it'll be a little bit harder to find. Where does Travis Kelce live? Where does Patrick Mahomes live? Where does Tekashi 6'9" lives? Also, social media. Be very, very careful with social media. One of the rappers got killed out here a few years back. Because he got to LA. I forget his name. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend the fans or anything like that. So if anybody in the chat know what his name is, please let me know. I will refer him going forward. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he came to LA, got an Airbnb or something, a rental property, but he was on social media or Instagram Live, and that showed the address, just a partial of the address. The goons came at night and some 16, 17-year-old kid just killed him. He tried to fight him off and he killed him. So please be careful with social media. I know everybody likes to stunt. I know everybody likes, here's how I'm living. But if your community is not gated, if you don't have security, if it's easy to get into your community, you gotta be very, very careful about what you put on social media in your house. Because trust me, people will look and see what watch you're wearing, what hat you're wearing, what shoes you're wearing, what your car look like. You gotta be very, very careful. The goons are watching, and the police, but the goons are also, watching. If you can afford it, maybe hire some security, just maybe when you're not there. I know security's not cheap. NFL contracts are funny money sometimes, but maybe hire. Listen, I know I gotta go play on Sunday. Maybe hire all day security on Sunday, Monday, whatever day that you're playing your ball. Or I got to go out of town on a road trip. Can you do security over the weekend or have somebody there at the house? Getting a guard dog is not a bad idea, even if it's not a killer dog, as long as it's a dog that makes noise. My dog Marcus is a poodle, but if you come to the door, if he hears that ring, if he sees somebody, like we have somebody spray the backyard like during the summer for like mosquitoes and flies and stuff, because my daughter likes playing out in the back. And that guy comes around that corner and Marcus lives up to his name. He's barking. I know he's there. I know who's out there. So like I say, you don't even have to get necessarily a guard dog, but maybe just not a dog that just lay down. If somebody tries to come in. It's sad, to see people take advantage of people like that, to rob people of their possessions, because your possessions is something very special. You know, like if somebody came in and they took certain things out of my crib, it would hurt. Some of those things are irreplaceable. Maybe it was a gift. Maybe you got it from somebody else. Maybe you bought it in something. If somebody came, took my belt behind me, I'd be, my wife got that for me for Christmas. I'd be upset about that. So please be careful. Please be careful about who you let in your house. This goes not just for NFL players, athletes, and entertainers. This goes for you too. Just regular old people. You guys have nice houses. They'll rob you too. You guys got nice cribs. You got nice stuff in your cribs. You guys are on Instagram and you guys are on TikTok dancing and stuff. Make sure that address is not being seen. You won't be TikToking nothing but a police report. Please be careful. Please be careful. Please be careful out here. The goons are gooning. The goons are gooning, man. I saw someone yesterday on I accidentally flipped to the news. A guy got a flat tire out in LA. This is middle of the day. He pulled over to fix the flat tire, and they robbed him while he was doing the goons robbed him while he was fixing the flat tire. It's very, very scary out here. The dude's getting shot from the jets. I mean, I know I'm not trying to say you can't go out and live life. Everybody should go out and try to live the best of their abilities, right? But if you see danger, you sense it, get the hell up out of there. Draymond Green. I've been thinking about this because I like to think of myself as an expert in fan athlete media relations, right? Athletes don't like media. They don't particularly like fans either, to be honest with you. They don't. They just don't. And I'm not saying they don't like the kids and stuff like that, but in general, like grown men, they don't like fans. They just don't. I don't know if it's always been like that, but in my experience of dealing with athletes for the last 15 to 10, 15, 20 years, most of them do not like you. They don't like you online. They don't like you in person. The kids, okay. But very, very few are very, what I would say, affable around grown men at the games. So, as an expert in this, I try to determine, I normally lean more toward the athlete. And I tell you why, because I know that the people at the games, the fans or whatever, the things that they say, the things that I've heard, you would never say that to an athlete in real life, like in person, right? Like, even if you thought it was the weakest athlete of all time, like, you're not gonna go up to a 6'10" Kevin Durant in his face on the street and call him a B word or a punk or whatever. You're not gonna do it. You feel like there's some sanctity in sitting in those seats. It makes you puff up your chest and you feel protected. So you say whatever you want. Now, in certain instances, I do believe that trash talking and booing and stuff like that are acceptable. You can tell somebody they're playing, but I think one of the ones that get the most, I say, debate is Westbrook, because Russell says he doesn't like to be. He considers it being called out of his name. His name is Westbrook. He wants to be addressed by Westbrook. If you call him Westbrook, he feels that is offensive. I feel like, that's fine. I mean, it's not you're not cursing. You're not talking about his wife. You're not talking about his kids. You're literally talking about the basketball aspect of his game, which I think is fair game. Which brings us to Draymond Green. So, big tall guy sitting under the basket. Draymond actually does miss a bunch of layups and gets his own rebounds, which honestly, that's what people call Angel Reese. When Draymond's explanation was he kept calling me a woman and I got kids. 4 kids and 1 on the way. I got kids. And he kept calling me a woman. He kept calling me a woman. I'm Draymond Green. I'm a man. That's disrespectful. I would understand that if he was calling him the B word. You'll be where, you'll be where, you'll be where. Or the P word of the P word, P word, P word. In this instance, I don't think the phrase Angel Reese, it has anything to do with Angel Reese being a woman. It has everything to do with Angel Reese's basketball game. So in that case, he's not calling him a woman. He's calling him, I guess, in his mind. And I'm not saying this. I'm just saying this is what the fan is thinking. Is he's calling him someone that's unskilled around the basket. I think that's fair game. I think that's fair game. As long as there's no expletives, you're not MNF and Angel Reese. You bitch made Angel Reese. If it's just your Angel Reese. Now, granted, if he said it 700 times, like, okay, bro, I got it. I get it. But, Draymond likes to physically bully people. That's his thing. It's part of his persona, so to speak, is that he feels that when push comes to shove, he can make you back down. Now, in this case, the fan didn't back down. He stepped up, just like Wemby. Now, I actually think that when that happens, Draymond respects you more. He actually respects you when you step up. Because I think he's searching for weakness. That's why Jordan Poole should have just, after he punched him, he should have punched him back. I don't think he ever had any respect for Jordan Poole because Jordan Poole was saying all of this stuff. He popped him, and he never did anything in retaliation to it. So he doesn't respect him. He doesn't respect soft people. And he's checking to see how soft you are. Now, granted, you can't be punching teammates, but I think he was checking the temperature. And instead, Jordan Poole kind of sulked. And see, as a man, if you get hit, even if you lose the fight, you got to fight back. You got to stand your ground, at least in the mind of someone like Draymond. He's going to push, and he's going to see if you're going to break or not. He did it with Kevin Durant. He pushed KD, pushed him, he 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 called him names in his face. I wouldn't say KD broke, but KD just left. I had to deal with this shit. I just play ball. I had to deal with this. I had to deal with this guy barking at me all the time. To the fans' credit, he didn't back down. And it seems like the league, after they investigated it, sided with the fan. Acceptable trash talk is you can boo, 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 booing is fine. Anything on the court or on the field, to me, is fair game. You're trash. You can't shoot. You're a bricklayer. You're a turnover merchant. You're a foul merchant. Stop flopping. Stop being a flopper. Man up. You can't guard him. Anything on the field. Why are you throwing those interceptions? You're a god awful quarterback. Why are you making all those drops? You should play in the CFL. Why you drop that interception? You know what they call wide receivers? They can't catch DBs. See, on the field trash talk, we're good with that. Don't talk about family. Don't talk about my kids. Don't talk about my girl. Don't use expletives. Don't call me out of my name. And when I say out of my name, I'm not saying make a cool pun of my name. I'm saying, don't call me an MNF. Don't call me a bitch. Don't call me a hoe. Don't call me all. Nothing that you wouldn't say in person that would get you knocked out. You should say at the game. Those are my rules. Those are my rules. Let's think about Patrick Beverley. Huh? It's a kind of a, first off, what type of, don't say anything about Megan Thee Stallion. All right. I think that has been established. That if you go against Megan Thee Stallion, you will lose. She has like a perfective force like Sue Storm. You cannot, if you say something about Megan Thee Stallion, something bad is going to happen to you right after. Not, I don't even think it was 24 hours from him, talking about Killer Clay and Megan Thee Stallion that the cops was arrested Patrick Beverley. I don't know if it's a Jay-Z thing. I don't understand. Just don't do it. With that being said, I don't have any siblings. I'm an only child. I had some stepbrothers, some stepsisters, but when it comes to blood, it's just me. My dad and mom, that was it. That's a whole different story that I don't want to get into because there's a lot of trauma behind that. But that's it. I'm an only child, so I don't have siblings. Now I have daughters, so they have siblings, but I don't have siblings. So people, this Patrick Beverley thing, I'm trying to conceptually try to figure it out, but I'm maybe not the best person to talk about it. What I am going to try to do is I try to go back to the way back machine when I was in high school. And when I was in high school, can I remember? Because 15 would be sophomore in high school, freshman, sophomore, and 18 would be senior, right? That's about right, right? Senior, getting ready to probably graduate, coming up here. And I'm trying to remember what did I see in high school in regards to relationships like that. And there was a couple that, the senior dated the freshman. Um, the senior dated the freshman, where the senior, I guess, was 17, 18, and the freshman was 14, 15. There was a couple of instances. I remember when I went to prom, I took a junior. So I was, let's see, January. So I would have been 18 and she was 17, I guess. Yeah, she was 17. So a year difference. So I don't know what I'm trying to say is I don't know how common that is. I mean, we're talking, I was in high school a very long time ago, 20 plus years ago. I don't know how common that is today for the senior to date the freshman or date the sophomore. I don't know if that's common. Clearly, there was some disconnect in the Beverly household because the sister had to sneak out to go see the boyfriend. Now, I know there was a lot of that. There was a lot of sneaking around when I was in high school. There definitely was a lot of come over when my parents are at work or whatever. There was a lot of that. I don't know if that still goes on. But she snuck out. Her mom obviously probably got worried because she didn't know where she was at. Come to find out she's with the 18-year-old boyfriend. She gets home. The mom, there's no dad, it appears to be in the picture here. That's probably another thing that should be pointed out. Dads, please, 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 please stay in the picture. Stay in the picture. Even if it doesn't work out. I know it's hard. Stay in the picture. It's very, very important for boys and girls. But so no dad, it appears in the picture. So she calls, the next best thing, Patrick Beverley. Apparently it's Beverly's house. He's taking care of things. It's his little sister. It's his mother. So I guess his mother had, because Patrick Beverley is in his 30s. So I guess his mother spun the block again. And it has a sister that's, about 15 years younger than him. Anyway, she calls Patrick Beverley. Now it just depends on who you believe. According to the cops, Patrick Beverley gets there and immediately attacks his sister, chokes her, punches her in the eye, and she says that Patrick Beverley is going to kill her. Then Patrick Beverley walks out with the boyfriend. The boyfriend gets nervous about what he's seen, calls the cops. The cops come, they see things on the sister, arrest Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley's lawyer says he's not a violent person. It didn't go down like that. They're not saying exactly how it did go down. This just tells me what I always tell you guys, life. People are just everybody's going through stuff. Doesn't matter if you're an ex-NBA player, you work at the car wash. It's always something. I don't know how would you guys had handled, that. I think most people are like, beat the ass of the of the 18-year-old. If you're gonna fight, maybe he's the one that you should be talking to. One thing about young love, though, or young puppy love, is that kids, the more that you tell a kid no, the more they're gonna want to do it. So I'm gonna assume they told this the sister not to date the older kid, and she's told her no, she did it anyway. So obviously, violence is not the answer. Well, sometimes this depends. You shouldn't. I don't think a NBA player should be putting his hands on a 15-year-old girl, sister or not. Now, she exaggerated. She lying because she's upset that he don't want her to go with her boyfriend. I mean, he's probably telling her the truth. You're 15, you're 18, you don't know nothing. If there's any 15 and 18-year-olds watching right now, if your parents tell you not to date somebody, it's fine. You'll be fine. Don't you worry about it. You're too young. You don't understand anything. You don't know nothing. You know absolutely nothing. Okay? Don't do it. I did find it interesting, though, that the cops, even though there's an 18, 15-year-old situation going on here, did not seem to care too much about the boyfriend and just arrested Patrick Beverley. I don't know what the right answer is. I know the one right answer is don't put your hands on a 15-year-old child if you're a grown man. I think that's pretty obvious. As far as how to handle all of the other stuff, well, I don't know. Normally, I have the answer to everything, but I don't have the answer to this because I don't have siblings, so I don't know what I would do right now if I had. Well, it'd be pretty crazy if I had a 15-year-old sister. But even when I was in my 20s or early 30s, I don't know how I would have handled that. This has been BSO Live with your boy, Robert Littal. Thank you for all the comments. I did see him, the Daredevil T. I appreciate that. Black Dr. Giro. And also, the voice already. I see that we're living in very, very difficult times. Yeah, everybody, please be safe out there. All the people on the Instagram and the TikToks. I see your comments as well. And I appreciate you watching. We'll be back for Robe